3 months ago,
And I'm no longer employed.
so the next day, I bought these doorknobs, then I bought these instruments, and sold a bunch of stuff over those 2 months. But what happened in month 3? Day 1 and we're back at the thrift store. Luckily, I found a bunch of stuff. Teapot, a lampshade, a label printer, dog frisbees, all this silverware, this electric frying pan, a pewter glass, and I even grabbed 2 t-shirts. And for everything, I paid 19 bucks. Later that day,
I listed probably about 6 things today, but I did have 2 sales. So one of the things was a coin. The other thing was 2 of these breakers, so 40 bucks.
decent start, but better news than that, I wound up selling this drill doctor for month 2 for another 50 bucks plus ship. The next few days were full of small sales, coins, plates, card games, plus this faucet for 63 bucks. And while I was running around listing, shipping, I was beginning to feel like a prisoner in my own house.
I thought I changed myself to one day handling the other day, but it didn't go through. I don't know. I have like 10 packages that need to go out today, and I just want to go get done. Like I want to go leave. I have to wait in case there's like one person that orders something in the next 9 minutes.
I couldn't sit around and pout too long because I sold another paper towel dispenser for 50 plus shipping and this penny for another 40.
So the guy that I bought all those instruments from has like a bunch of vintage audio equipment that he is going to sell me. So I'm going to at least attempt to go drive there now.
So I drove and drove, but it was a good thing I did because look at all this stuff I got. And for everything, I paid 700 bucks. I didn't know what half of this stuff was, but there was 2 main things of value. This tape machine, which sells for about 400, and this record player. Those 2 items should cover my costs and get me back to the black. And with how good this guy has been in the past, I took his word for it. And now that I had it home, it was time to figure out how to turn this analog gear into analog money.
Spent 700 in 3.5 hours of my time, but luckily I did sell a $6 sale, and I believe that's with free shipping. So hopefully off this, I will make approximately 27 cents.
Luckily, that wasn't all, because later that night, I sold this bathtub drain for another 50, and it was completely free as scrap.
I listed, I think, 3 of the items that I got out of that lot yesterday, but I did just list the reel-to-reel tape machine, and I actually just made a Reverb account today, but I also put it on Facebook Market, which is my first Facebook Market listing ever, just because it's heavy. It's 30-something pounds. So the guy gave me 2 other things for free. So one of them was this drum machine, very, very cool. The other one was another drum machine. They're both in the box, but he said he couldn't get them to work. All I did was just plug it in.
And honestly, going through this stuff was a blast. But while I was having fun messing around, I couldn't have imagined how bad things would get.
Only thing I sold so far today, 33 bucks plus shipping.
And then later that night, this happened.
I sold paper towel dispensers last week. The guy I sold it to contacted me and said, it's not working, the red lights come on, like asking me questions about it. How can I fix this? Blah, blah, blah. He asked me, he was like, was this brand new? Yeah, and you knew it was brand new because it's in the original packaging with the original film on it. Like, you know, it was installed for 5 years and somehow they hung on to all that stuff and was able to reapply all the film perfectly. Like, what are you even saying? I don't know if he's a scammer. So that was 3 days ago, and now today. It was working perfectly, and now it seems like it's stuck in manual mode, and I don't know how to fix it.
Now, from the start, I could tell something was up. I could just feel it in my gut. It seemed like the customer was trying to make a record of issues.
Dude, so rude, so unprofessional. Like, they think that we're in corporate America. I can say whatever I want. I'm talking to you like a regular fucking person. I'm not a customer service agent. But they were like, you need to give me a full refund. I was like, no, get your out of here. I can't believe the level of entitlement of people. And I'm like, you know what? I'll fight this through eBay. He called me a loser, which is fine. So I kind of calmed down after that. I mean, I was a little passive aggressive, but I never did anything bad. I don't know what eBay's going to say about this, but you guys all told me that if anybody ever threatens you or anything like that with like negative feedback, well, that's exactly what just happened. Do you want to do this the easy way? You can give me back my money. Otherwise, this is going to look very bad for you. I don't think I did it. I don't think I said anything too bad besides I used the word dude. Those were the very worst things that I did. I said, I'm normally very accommodating with customers, but it was clear that I was never going to make you happy.
And my gut proved me right, because either this was a scam or this person just had the worst luck in the world with paper towel dispensers. Not a great first week. And after month 2, I really needed things to start improving quickly. Week 2 kicks off with another trip to the thrift store, where I snagged a few board games and a couple small things. A steal at only 6 bucks. The days that followed brought me some small victories, like this doorknob, a board game, and these paintbrushes.
$8 for both of them. And if you look up here, $9.99 and $6.99. Wow, this lady got such a good deal, right? I bought these for myself. They were on sale at Hobby Lobby for $1 a piece. So I only paid $2 for them. $8 plus shipping is not bad.
Then I got some even better news.
Was able to talk to eBay for Business chat on Facebook. They looked at the case and they said, well, there's some expectation of longevity, but that's not your problem. So we're going to pay, and we removed the negative feedback. So I don't know what it is. It's like I've unlocked the Karen side of eBay. But people are just like messaging me to tell me about my listing and tell me nobody's going to buy it and stuff like that. Like, okay. Thanks.
Even with all that annoyance, I had to keep pushing on. I had nothing sold out of the lot of electronics I just paid $700 for.
So I just put up 2 listings tonight. Set them both for auction. Auctions aren't good unless you have something that's very rare and one of one. And that's what I had 2 of. Now there's only been 1 sold in the last 90 days. It was for about $400, but it was for parts and not working. But there's none other listed anywhere on the internet. So I have no idea what it's actually worth.
But then that night,
the first bid for that record player, it's $99, which is the starting bid. 10 watchers right now.
Now, with the certainty of a sale and 1-day handling, I needed to make sure I got it packed up well in advance because this would not be easy to pack.
All right, so that took me like well over an hour. I mean, I want to be extra careful. This is literally the only one that's available on the whole internet. It's getting a ton of traction. Don't know exactly where it's going to end. There's 12 watchers on it already, and it hasn't even been 24 hours. So
what's crazy, as soon as I listed the turntable,
very cool news. I sold a drum machine that I got out of that lot. It sold for $70 plus shipping, but that was super nice. We didn't agree on that. He just gave it to me extra. I'm very appreciative of that. And ironically, that's the only thing out of that lot I've sold.
This was a ton of fun to mess with, but I was glad to start putting numbers on the board. So I packed that up and I sold a quarter for another $10.
Oh, I just got a new bid. 2 new bids for the record player.
I sold this remote for another $8, but I got it for free. And that's when I started to realize this lesson.
If you only upload junk, you don't get a ton of traffic. But if you only upload good stuff, you don't really make any money. I'm starting to realize like mixing good stuff with junk is really like the best thing you can do, because that kind of blend between like getting stuff moved and having stuff that's actually profitable makes a big difference.
Quick tip, most remotes use infrared light, which can't be seen by the naked eye, but it's very easy to pick them up with a camera. And that's how you ensure it's working. The following days blur together as I kept testing, cleaning, listing electronics, and shipping sales on top of editing videos.
Breakers that I bought, I sold 3 of these boxes. So I think altogether the order is like $200.
Until finally,
second month has officially been posted, but I'm ready to get back to it. It's such a good
So I headed back to the thrift store just to see what was there. And it's good I did, because I wound up getting this pasta maker, which I would part out. And even better, these Pringles containers for 5 cents a piece. Definitely a bowl, as they sell for almost $20. Later on that day, I sold this waffle maker, $25 plus shipping. And while I was packing it up,
I did just sell this Panasonic cassette player. So luckily, it sold for full price. Super good.
it seemed like my luck was finally starting to turn around. But week 3 would prove this was only temporary. After returning from my weekly trip to the thrift store, I'm greeted by a pleasant surprise.
I got this golf club, which I know a lot of people sell golf clubs, so I paid $5. And also somebody had commented that I should try Power Adapt. So I just went through and just found as many obscure looking ones as I could, because they're 50 cents each. I mean, $3.50, I'll scrap them. But while I was gone, I actually sold that Uno Flash game, $40 plus shipping. I bought it for 50 cents from the thrift store last Saturday, so 1 week, not bad at all.
Earlier that morning, I had woken up to an order for 4 doorknobs, but I could only find 3. So I had to wait for the buyer to get back to me. Later on that afternoon, I had planned.
Hang out with my friend I haven't seen in a while,
who knew I'd been reselling and had a bunch of extra stuff in storage he wanted to get rid of. And look at all the stuff I got. Majority of it was clothes, and I really didn't want to go through them all. So I told him, I'll take whatever you don't want for $1 a piece. There was also some toys and household stuff, and for everything, I paid $54. Later on that night, I began listing the clothes, and luckily I did, because the next morning I woke up to this.
I posted a jacket. I posted it for $14.99 plus shipping. Maybe I priced it too low, but don't really care. Just trying to get rid of stuff, and I'm happy to make sales, so.
I also got news from the doorknob buyer. The rest of the day was spent washing and listing clothes, because today was the big day. The auctions for both the turntable and cassette player were set to end, with only $140 back on my $700. This was really make or break, but both were poised for success with tons of watchers and bids. So I had no idea how high this thing would go.
The fucking turntable sold for $170. The last one sold for $300. It didn't even work. This one fucking works, and it sold for $170. With auctions, everybody says it's best to end them around 8 o'clock at night on a Sunday. So I started mine, not realizing that next week is the Super Bowl.
Luckily, we still had the tape player to go.
I am so fucking irritated right now. Turntable sold for 170 bucks, and the buyer messaged me all these like demands with shipping. I messaged him back. I mean, you saw the other day, it took me like an hour to pack that thing. He's like, remove this, remove that, do this, do that. And I'm like, listen, man, it's already packed. This is how I packed it. If you want, I'll cancel your order, but there's fucking stupid Super Bowl going on. Everybody wants to watch fucking Taylor Swift. Cheer. No can bid on turntables. So anyway, then this just sold. This tape player I had up, this sold for $20 plus shipping. I have $700 invested in this. I got back 200 of it right here. Bro, I'm gonna break even on this.
But even with all that anger, I had to move on and focus on the positives.
This is my favorite part of eBay. Just having it all stacked up. This is what I do.
The next morning, I woke up super early to another broken keyboard sold.
This one sold for $15.99 plus shipping.
And with a hectic day on the horizon, I needed to get started on the custom box. Because then it was on to Zoom calls, back to back to back to back to...
Got off my first Zoom call of the day. 5 more of these to do. Get a good feel for somebody and you see if you can actually work with them. Or if they can even work with you, because I know I'll be a pain to work with. It's only like 7 o'clock, but man, today was an eventful day and not even in a good way. You know what's crazy is like, I talked to people from 5 different countries today and I'm like, that didn't even seem weird. Like, and I'm like, that was basically the same thing as Omegle. Like, there's really no difference.
And the next couple of days only got worse. With only a few small sales.
Same day handling, but I always look at this as kind of a good opportunity to get a good walk in. When you have a day where you only have like a couple 8 things, put it in my backpack.
And a trip to the post office where I was scolded for an envelope size. But even worse, later on that night,
man, I don't know if it's just a Karen day for me. So I just had a buyer contact me about the paper towel dispensers that I have and asked if it was the same model that they have. Turns out it was, and she sent me an offer for $25. Now I'm asking $50 plus shipping on that. So I responded and I said, just so you know, I've sold 2 already. This is the last one I have left. They both sold for full price, which 100% is true. I was like, I'll give you a 5% price discount, but I can't do anything more than that. I paid a lot less and it's not worth that much. I said, okay, thank you. Like, started to get like kind of aggressive about it. So what I did is I went to her profile and go feedback left for others. And it turns out they leave a decent amount of negative feedback. So I see that as a problem buyer. It's just something I want to avoid. So I just blocked them. Whatever, they can be mad. I don't care. It's just not something I want to deal with, especially if they're already complaining.
Maybe I was just cynical for my paper towel past, but a short break in bad luck allowed for some sale. And while I was packing it, this happened.
Then today they contacted me on a different account and said, hey, I saw you blocked me yesterday. Can you unblock my other account? And I just told them, I was like, listen, you were unhappy. It just didn't seem like it was going to be a successful transaction from the start. And I like to have happy customers, which immediately made them even more angry and saying like all sorts of stuff. This is BS. And I'm like, look, you're already irate. We haven't even come to an agreement yet. Like, so I went to go block them again, but somehow they bought it. I messaged them and said, well, thank you, Annie, for your purchase. If you are unhappy for any reason, please contact me. But you just know this is going to be a pain in the... You know nothing good's gonna come from it. Feels like I'm back in school, like where I know I'm gonna get in trouble, but like doing it anyway, you know? Feels like I'm doing something wrong and I'm not. This is my job. This is what I'm supposed to do.
I just sold, this is my last like big handle set.
$55. And I was only asking
And a piece of glass for 10.
My grandma always said I was a bull in a china shop, and this is not the right spot for me.
But unfortunately, I didn't realize free shipping was turned on.
Man, so I lost money on this transaction from the start.
And when I thought things wouldn't get any worse,
I had a message on eBay about the last saxophone I have available. The saxophone I have is an alto, not a tenor. I don't know if you read it, but that's quite literally what it says. There's nothing about tenor in there. It said, yup, your listing looks great. I'm like, okay, why did you message me then? Oh, I'm sorry, I must have misread it. So those are the types of people you're dealing with. Just goes to show you.
Things were really, really slow. I was desperate to make anything happen. So luckily I figured out this.
Figured out that you're able to offer the same discount that you get from eBay to your customers. So they see that and they get better shipping rates. I do calculated shipping on almost everything. I don't know. I'm going to try it out. If it really impacts my bottom line a lot, I'll get rid of it.
With things not going my way, being sick of living in shambles,
People have talked about the death pile I have, which is somewhat true and somewhat not true.
I have to try to list 10 things per day, really 7 to 13. Rather than just putting everything up as fast as possible, I try to take 10 items a day out of my quote-unquote death pile. So I'm going to try to go through all shitty stuff, draft bank it, and get it put up way upstairs with custom SKUs on it. So I can go live every day, do the uncomfortable stuff now while I'm motivated to. Been listing glass for a little bit. I have 11 more listings to do.
This took me 2 full days.
Today sucks. I just had to do Whatnot onboarding live session. So I'm able to sell on Whatnot.
This whole week was pure grind with no gratification. And I only had one more to turn things around and make this month profitable.
So it is Sunday. Right about noontime now, I've had 3 sales. So I sold a piece of glass, and then also I sold a guitar stand, and I sold that same Lutron.
That was returned in month 2. When it got returned, I just relisted it as part with the previous buyer's comment. And I'm glad I did, as it sold for 60 bucks plus shipping, almost the same price the first buyer paid. And I also sold this coffee maker, but...
So it's been like an hour. The person that bought the coffee maker still hasn't paid yet. I mean, they could be doing other stuff.
Late that night, I sold a shirt out of my friend's box.
See there, it's like stained. Like there's all sorts of stains and stuff on it. I don't know what all these vintage, hype beast stuff is into.
The next morning, I woke up and this happened.
The faucet that I bought from the thrift store in month 1 for $10 sold for about 50 bucks plus ship. But it's all brand new in the package with the instructions. But this is different than this.
And even better than that,
Very happy to say I am now a top-rated eBay seller. I always think of like eBay, basically the world's best slot machine. On one end, you put garbage into it, and the other end, you can win money.
but the buyer for the coffee pot still hadn't paid. But that's when things really got crazy.
So the coffee maker that I had, someone had messaged me a while ago. They messaged me on my card and said, please hold until 2/22. So I said, I'll try my best. So I went to go message them and let them know, like, somebody bought it on eBay, but they didn't pay for it. I realized it's the same person.
Another sale to cap off the day.
That pasta maker that I got, one of the pieces of it just sold. The lock ring for $11.99.
Which ensured me that parting out was the right way to go. Now everything else would be pure profit. The next day I had plans.
I'm supposed to go meet today with a guy that reached out. He owns a security company, and he has like a bunch of stuff that he needs to get rid of, like cameras and... Wow, look how cool I look. So I just got back. As you can see, my car is very well filled up, even the passenger seat.
And look at all the stuff I got. I knew nothing about it, so now came the real work. I had to go through all this stuff, research it, figure out what it was, and how I should list it.
Super nice guys there that I paid 400 bucks for all that stuff. The way that I make money, a lot of what people think flipping is, and maybe to some people it is like, oh, I see that Beanie Baby and I know it's worth $1,000. I want to try to get it for them. These guys are business owners that are successful business owners I just went and bought stuff from. They need to get rid of this stuff. It's not worth their time. At least in my case, none of my customers are victims. They're all much more successful than me, and this just isn't something they're set up for, nor is it worth their time to deal with. So that's where I make my money, is off that labor.
I didn't know what any of these parts were, but they had numbers on them, so I decided to organize them based off of that. I got home around 3 o'clock, and I sorted through until about midnight when I passed out. Well, besides to take a break to ship the day's sales.
Coffee pot from earlier, then I sold this charger.
So the company that bought the cell phone charger, they had a prop in their name, and they offered to pay priority rate. And they're based in California. I'm like, are you guys like a prop show, and you need this for a shoot? And they're like, yeah, for a TV show. So that phone charger went from my local thrift store to my house to being on some TV show, which is so crazy.
The next morning, I decided to call the parts manufacturer to see what the parts actually were.
So the funniest thing, called the company this morning, and the lady's like, I think that's date code. So I've been organizing all of these by date code. That just means like the date that it was made. That was dumb.
I was just happy not to be spinning my wheels anymore and had a clear path towards organization.
Restarting. So I just got an offer for the brand new breakers I bought. The guy wanted 40 of them all together, $240. Just about double what I paid for them.
And finally, it was the last day of the month.
So there's a really weird thing. I don't know if anybody picked up on this. The last day, for whatever reason, I always did really, really well. These aren't correlating with any specific dates. I just started this and it's just 4 weeks from that day, 4 weeks from that day. I don't know what it was, but it was kind of superstitious to me a little bit. But today, really, really slow. Like really slow. I haven't had any sales yet. Wow. So just as I was saying that, I just sold a $400 Lutron control board, brand new in the box.
And plus, as I packed that up, I sold this piece of glass for another 22 bucks. Great ending to the month.
That's exactly what I love about eBay. You can be down so bad, and in the last 2 days, I've made $600, maybe a little bit more. You just kind of gets you back up on that horse. Luckily, I mean, I don't do much. Living like even less of a lifestyle than I thought was possible, because before this, I always lived off of nothing, which I'm not mad about. Wanted to get way better, but gotta have your priorities in check. If I'm out going out and doing stuff, even if things go perfectly smooth, I'm going to be spending some amount of money that could have gone into inventory, could have gone into paying bills. I just know I'm broke. So the quicker you realize that, the quicker you can make better decisions.
Now for the results. But first, a word from today's sponsor, Aura. Aura makes sure you're keeping yourself safe online by monitoring the dark web and data brokers for your leaked information. And for someone like me, who went from being completely unknown to now having an internet presence, this is a lifesaver. Because Aura sends you alerts when things like your email, cell phone, credit card number, social security numbers are leaked. And if you use the link below, you not only get 2 weeks free, but it also does help the channel. Go to aura.com/analog. But now back to it. Across the whole month, buying all the inventory, giving refunds and returns, after fees, everything, I made $800. And my inventory went from, I believe, like 15,000, and now it is at 23,000. So not the best month ever, but things are on an upward trajectory. Plus, obviously, being 100% honest, that plus YouTube, we're not doing terrible, you know? The other reason why I'm not upset about it, majority of the inventory that I bought in month 3 will sell at some point. It's all pretty good stuff. I don't think I really took any big mistakes like I did with the glass. Yeah, I guess that's why I'm not like super disappointed like I have been. I'm confident that 95% of the electronics will sell. I'm gonna keep plugging along, and hopefully you guys are here for another month's ride.